So in this video I want to talk about how to properly fill out a rental form. Thing about these rental forms is that they are legal documents, so it's important to fill them out correctly and completely. So places to sign, an initial. It's really important that these get filled out thoroughly and to 100%. Alright, so let's go over how to do it. So first of all, there's a front and a back side. And on the back side is a lot of legal language about liability and things like that. And there's two places to initial, here and here, and then a place to sign, there or there. This one is for the signature of an adult user plus the date. And this one is if the signature is for a parent or guardian of a person that's less than 18 years old, plus the date. It's always important to get the date in there too, and these two places to initial. And it is important for them to read it. Now on the front side, we have the basic information. This is fairly self-explanatory. Last name, first name of the person renting the equipment, the address and city. A lot of people miss this city part. The state. We don't really care about the country. We know it's the USA. And the zip code. The phone number. It's really the best phone number to reach them. The email. And this local phone number is really not necessary. That's if they're... This form is printed for all kinds of places. This would be for if they're staying in a hotel or something and we were up at the resort. Now, this is the weight of the individual in pounds or kilograms, their height, and their skier type, and their age. Number of days wanted is really irrelevant. We don't need to fill that out. Date out and date in. So this is the date they're taking the equipment, and this is the date that they're going to bring it back. The date they're taking the equipment and the date they're going to bring it back. Then down here we have final indicator settings. And this is what you are setting the DIN setting to of the binding. And if you've looked at some of the other videos we have, you'll see that how to do that. So once you determine the DIN of the binding, let's say it's 5, you're going to write 5 here on each one of these. So that represents the toe and the heel for the right and the left ski. Skier code, what that is that refers to the DIN chart. We'll go over that in a second. And so let's go back up here. Fill out their last name. Just put my name in there. Hopefully it's legible. And you want to have them do this part. You don't have to do this. It's really much better for them to do it. My weight, height, skier type. I'm going to circle type 2. We'll go over this in a minute, what that actually means. And my age. Again, number of days wanted. We don't need to fill that out. So first we have to figure out what their skier type is. And many renters do not know what that is. And it refers to this chart right here. And it's very important for them to classify themselves. It's not up for you as an employee to classify them. And you can see that classify yourself. Determining your skier type is your responsibility, that being the customer's responsibility and not the employee's responsibility. It's important for them to read this. Type 1, 2, and 3. Basically, as you become a better skier, you're going to go in this direction up toward type 3. Now, these do not refer to beginner, intermediate, and advanced level skiers. It does not say the word beginner in any of these in this description. It doesn't say the word expert or advanced level here. It really refers to more of how you feel about your bindings, especially when people are vacillating between these two. Type 1 is the binding is going to release easier than type 2, and type 2 is going to release easier than type 3. And so it's important for them to take the time, read these descriptions, and determine for themselves what type of skier they are. So from there, they would circle which one they've determined they're going to be. And then from having all this information, their weight, height, skier type, and age, plus their boot sole length, which is their length of their boot in millimeters, which we will write right here, 322 millimeters. Oddly enough, there's no place on this form to write boot sole length, which is very strange. So it's best to put I like to put it right above the single code. So let's go up here. Our weight is 200. Our height is 5'11". That brings us over to L, and L is the skier code, and that's for a type 1 skier. A type 2 skier, we drop down one row to M. So their skier code, because we're a type 2, is M, and that's what you're going to write right there. This one you can leave blank, or you can write M over here too if you like. And so that's and then we come across here to the boot sole length, and we get their release setting, and that's what we write here. So once we determine their release setting on this, then we're going to write that release setting right there. And we've gone over how to determine these release settings in other videos, so take a look at those videos. Now from here, we're going to fill out their equipment. So let's say they're renting skis, boots, and poles. So we're going to put an X on each one of those spots. And now, what are we going to write out here? We have to put an ID of some kind or a description. So let's say they're renting an Atomic 154. We don't need to write the word Atomic. We can just put an A there, 1554. And in most cases on the skis, there's some sort of serial number engraved into the ski, and we're going to write that. We're going to write 01 or whatever the engraved serial number is on the ski. Now the boot, same sort of deal. Let's say it's a Nordica boot. You don't need to write Nordica. N is fine. Then you're going to write the size. Let's say it's a 28.5. And on each boot, there's handwritten on the back an ID number similar to this. So we'll write, well, let's say it's 059 is the ID number. And then the pole, same thing. We don't need to write down the brand of the pole because we can't really tell in most cases. So we're just going to write the length, 48. And on each pole, there's an ID number also. And so we're going to write 01. Let's pretend it's the 01. So that's really important to do that right there. And actually, we can use the DIN chart over here to determine all the release setting information. It's all right here. So from there, I'm gonna sign it so I can read it. G-hole. And then I'm going to have the customer make sure that they initial, and sign, and then sign the front and date the front also. Now, determining the amount paid. So let's imagine that it's Friday and it's the 31st of some month. We'll say December 31st, 2013. And they're good, and that's a Friday, and then they're going to return it on Monday. This is sort of a typical scenario. So that would be the 3rd, January 3rd, 2014. So we don't count the day you pick it up or the day you return it, as long as you return it by 6 p.m. It's very important, 6 p.m. But we count every day in between. So that's 2 days. So 2-day ski. We write that right up there. And a 2-day ski right now is $34. I'm going to write $34. Sorry. Write that right there. And so that's how we need to know that, so that when they bring it up to the front, they can charge the correct amount. So we've determined how much it's going to be. We're going to write that right there. Again, just to go over it again, this is where the technician signs. Very important. We need to know who did this. Again, the signatures that are done by the customer here, initials there, and then they have to sign on the back also. So we have their information as to where they live, their phone number, their age, their skier type, height, weight, the release information, the skier code, which we got off of the chart over here. And based on that information, we write the boot sole length right there, which is, again, if you watch some of the other videos, it shows you how to determine that. That's essentially the boot sole length in millimeters. And there we go. That's how you fill out the proper way to fill out the form. Now, what happens here is the yellow copy goes out, comes out, that goes with them, and these copies go into the file. And now we're going to go over taking a deposit for a rental. So for every rental, we need to take a security deposit. And what a security deposit is only if the people don't come back with the skis, then we charge the card. And it's very important for you to explain to the customer that that's what you're doing. A lot of times people think that they're paying for the rental when you're doing this. So it's really important to make it very clear that this is not the payment, this is only a security deposit. And they need to pay up in front. It needs to be stated in those terms. So essentially, we put the card right in this spot here, facing up, the top of the card up there. Tuck this under this little tab right there, line it up, go all the way over, all the way back. Make sure the numbers get imprinted up here. That's the important part, these numbers and the expiration date. And now you have to come up with a value for the stuff that they're renting. And it can be a very approximate value. So for the average rental skis and boots, it might be $250. So I'll write $250 here, $250 down here, and I'll write deposit. And then the customer needs to sign it right here. So that's where the customer signs it. Then once that's done, so if there's multiple skis, let's say there's 2 pair of skis and boots, you might write $500. It doesn't have to be exact, just as long as it's somewhat close. Then just staple this right in the back up here. And then this one goes on our copy. This is our copy. It gets stapled right there. So this goes up to the front register with them. You need to make sure that they go up and pay for the rental. Super duper important. All right, our copy gets filed into the rental file downstairs. You'll see where that is. All right, so if you have any questions, give me a holler or someone else who knows what they're doing. All right, thanks.